Hello, this is Mike Porter with Print Mail Consultants for Mailing Systems Technologies. Today's topic is intelligent mail. We'll be discussing different approaches that companies are using to implement this new postal technology in their organizations. And I'll give you some strategies that you can use to help you make the decision about how to best implement IMB in your own company. But before we do that, I've got an update for you. We talked in a previous video about how some simple measures can make a big difference in the quality of your document output when you're doing variable data applications. I told a story about a city in New Hampshire that had to mail all of their property tax bills twice because of a printing error that they didn't catch. Well, I ran across a similar story out of Florida this last week. There's a county in Florida that was also mailing out property tax bills, but the last thing they did before they put the bills in the envelopes was to do an audit. They double-checked the printed output against the original data, and guess what? They found an error. 2 columns of data were duplicated, making all of the documents incorrect. Well, they were able to reprint the documents and get them in the mail and still meet their mailing dates. So this story had a much happier outcome than the previous story. And it just goes to show you how a really simple approach like double checking your output before it goes into the mail can really save your bacon. Okay, now on to intelligent mail. As I talk to organizations about their implementation plans for intelligent mail barcodes, they seem to fall in 4 groups. The first group really has no plan. They say they can continue to use the PostNet barcode through 2011, so why bother converting now? I can sort of understand this point of view, given all the difficulties that the post office had in bringing this technology to the marketplace, and some of the uncertainty that we have today about the future of the Postal Service. By the time 2011 rolls around, the postal delivery picture may be a lot different than it is today. So making a decision to convert when there's no real obvious benefits to do that to your company may seem foolish. But there's also companies in this group that haven't taken the time to do any evaluation at all, and that seems a little troublesome. How do you know what is going to be the best solution for your company and where the benefits are if you haven't taken the time to do the research? The second group has decided to go with just basic service IMB. This too is understandable, and it may be the most reasonable approach for small to medium-sized mailers. They get to keep their postage discounts, but there's no huge investment in IT or record keeping, and no requirement to keep mail piece ID numbers unique for 45 days and so forth. True, basic service doesn't have all the snazzy features of full service IMB, but the value of those services may not be there for some of those mailers. The postage discount alone is not going to be enough to sway the people in this group. Group number 3 says, we're going with full service IMB, but we haven't quite figured out what to do with the data yet. I've heard this on a number of occasions, and it always surprises me. Somehow they've gotten approval to make all the changes necessary to implement full service IMB, and yet they haven't really nailed down the business benefits. This might be because nobody's listening. On the service IMB as a postal technology, changes like this in the past didn't really concern the business units as long as the mail got delivered on time and accurately and at a reasonable cost. So I guess it's not surprising that departments like legal or customer care or marketing aren't all that interested. The mailing managers are in a different position too. They may not be used to reaching out to corporate departments and educating them about business benefits associated with the mail. Now the fourth group is already working on the infrastructure changes necessary to integrate the data that's supplied by full service IMB into their business processes, but this is the smallest group. Very large mailers can justify the upfront expense of a full service IMB simply because of the scope of their operations. These are the companies that have enough customer care agents that more precise staffing based upon mail delivery dates can actually save them money. Or they can run multi-channel marketing campaigns that are tied to in-home delivery dates of direct mail, or other sophisticated or complicated operations within their companies that help them to recover the costs of full-service IMB in a reasonable amount of time. So which group describes your situation at the moment? Are you still evaluating your options? Trying to follow developments at the post office? Maybe waiting for the economy to turn around because you can't get approval for projects right now anyhow? Well, I don't think there's a single best choice for everybody. Even among those mailers that are adopting full service, they're finding different values in different parts of that program depending upon their businesses. But I don't recommend that mailers just sit tight and do nothing. So here's 3 things that you can do today. They won't cost you any money, but going through these simple steps can help to prepare you for making that decision about what's the best thing to do with intelligent mail when the time is right. Step number 1, keep up to date with what the post office is doing with intelligent mail. Sign up for USPS advisories, go to the RIBS website, read Mailing Systems Technologies, sign up for newsletters, become familiar with all the aspects of this program. As more and more mailers get onto full service IMB, we're going to be hearing more about their challenges and their successes, and you can apply these lessons to your own business. Step number 2 is talk to your customers. Now, these may be internal or external. And in many cases, the customers that are most affected by the documents that you mail out aren't the ones that you deal with on a daily basis. You can talk to customers individually or in groups. The focus here is to communicate how different features of the intelligent mail barcode can be used to improve the way that they do business. Talk to legal and regulatory, marketing, customer care, business units. All these different organizations have a stake in the mail in one way or the other. If you're not comfortable with having these discussions on your own, then by all means bring in someone to facilitate these conversations. But this is critical. You can't possibly make the right decision about what's the best way to implement IMB in your organization without getting input from customers across the organization. This is not strictly a mailroom decision. Step number 3, take all the information that you've gathered about the business benefits that your company might realize as a result of using the data that's supplied by the intelligent mail barcode and start putting together a plan for delivering those benefits. Now this can get pretty complicated. So to call on your vendors, the United States Postal Service, experts in the field to help you decide what needs to be done, how long it'll take, and about how much it'll cost. Just putting the barcode on the mailing pieces is just the first part of the project. You've also got to decide how to get the data from the USPS back into your own systems and use it to influence those critical business decisions that will really provide the benefits that you anticipated. Nobody expects the mail center managers to be able to do this on their own, so don't hesitate to start lining up some help. You've got enough on your plate as it is to just manage the day-to-day business. These are simple strategies, but critical if you're going to implement IMB for the full benefit of your organization and not just for the mail center. Well, thanks for listening today. As always, I appreciate your attention. If you've got ideas about other stories that you'd like us to cover, or you've got stories of your own that you'd like to share, or you want to talk about other operational issues or your IMB strategies, just send me an email, mporter@printmailconsultants.com. Also, if you're going to Print 09 this year, make sure and let me know. I'd love to grab a cup of coffee with you and sit down and discuss your IMB strategies. I hope to see you there.